This video is sponsored by DecalWorks, offering 10% off all graphics to retail customers. Use the promo code RX10 at decalmx.com to receive 10% off your graphics.
Look at this sexy motorcycle. Something about red, right? Welcome to RacerXOnline.com. I am Kris Keefer, and this is another garage build. Right here is Eddie Laret, and this is his beautiful 2023 GasGas MC 450. So you probably have a buddy at home that changes bikes monthly, yearly, can never decide on what he wants, complains about what he has, gets something else. It's a lot to have a friend like that. This is my friend, okay? He had a 350 that he thought he loved for the Vet Nationals. Nope. Guess what? Now we need a 450 for some reason. But I said, you know what, Eddie? Since you're changing bikes all the time, let's do a garage build on something that you like currently. Because I have no idea. 3 days from now, he may not like this bike. But right now, he loves this machine. So, Edward, talk about your beautiful machine that you love currently and tell him what you like about it and what you did here.
Yeah, so we started out on the 350, which was the 23, which is a new chassis. It's a little stiffer, you know, that I thought with my weight and everything, it would be fine and we'd be okay. But yeah, I brought this thing out and rode it one day when we first picked it up from GasGas, and I kind of fell in love with it right from the get-go. The chassis is definitely a little more friendly-ish, let's say, for us vet guys that, you know, kind of get beat up towards the end of the motos. So I like that. This is the older engine package, not like the new one, so it is a little tamer on the bottom end. I am gonna actually say that my 350 was probably almost as good with this down low, because we had the ECU on it with the pipe. So this bike's a little more friendly to ride. So that's why I picked it. You know, and like you said, it's red. Right. It's beautiful. I mean, so yeah, that's the reason why we decided. It's like
having a Honda, but with more comfort.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was.
So let's break this thing down real quick. We're going to go ride it here in a little bit, but let's break down the engine. Stock engine, but two key things to make this a little bit more peppier.
Yeah, so obviously we went to our home, you know, Twisted Development. When saw Jamie down there, again, he gave us an ECU remapped, and we also did the exhaust flange that he makes. So those are the two key features that we did in the engine department. We obviously put VP T4 in the fuel tank like we do on all our bikes. So that
and something that we normally don't do. Sometimes we run FMF products a lot on steel frame bikes, but we decided to go with Mitch and Pro Circuit, something a little bit different. I haven't personally rode with the Pro Circuit exhaust on this bike yet, so I'm excited to try it.
Yeah. I mean, we use FMF on pretty much all of our stuff. So I figured when I got this put on my plate to kind of do what I wanted, I said, let's try something different, you know. And there was a couple other mufflers that really stood out. Akrapovic, obviously being a huge one on this bike because that's what all the factory teams run, and then Pro Circuit. So we landed down there in Corona, and PC, they hooked us up. So here we are.
So a lot of special things within the suspension package here. So I was actually pretty excited to try some of these things. Eddie lined this up over at Technical Touch. So explain what we got going on here.
Yeah, so we went to Technical Touch. Obviously they do the KYB conversion kit with the billet CNC lugs. That's a little different than some of the other people do with the KYB conversion kit. So yeah, we did that. And then I had my guy Steve at Shock Therapy do the suspension. He's done my suspension for a couple years. He's a vet rider. He kind of knows what I like the feeling of. So I had him do it. He also, when doing the revalve and springing, he had the KYB Works spring purchase. So we put those in, and then he also had, he's calling it a trick rebound needle. So I have yet to ride that. I have yet to even see really what it is. But he told me you're probably gonna like it. So we did that.
He's brainwashing you, Edward.
Yeah. I wish he wouldn't have told me too much of what was going on, but we also, from Technical Touch, we did the X-Trig spring adjuster. So now it just takes the 8T handle to move the spring up and down. There's no Allens or tapping.
Banging,
yeah, there's none of that. That's gone. So those few items were huge.
And we stuck with the 22 millimeter offset?
Yeah, we went with the X-Trig split clamps. We did the 22/20 mil offset. Obviously, we probably won't get to 20 mils out here. Maybe at a Paris style track, you might want to get it there, but I think the standard offset on this bike is pretty neutral, forgiving, and easy to ride.
MotoMaster. So we did all kinds of brakes and disc parts on this bike.
Yeah, so MotoMaster's new to Technical Touch, so they actually are the distributor for them now in the United States. So when we were out there, they said, hey, you guys want to try some of our brake stuff? I'm going to be honest with you, I thought MotoMaster was oversized brake discs and hangers. That was it. I didn't know they did steel braided brake lines. They have these unbelievable billet factory machine calipers, they call them. It's a beautiful piece. They also do chain and sprockets. So we did their chain and sprocket series. That's gonna be new for us.
Yeah.
You know, none of us have ever really, this bike comes with Brembo. How do you beat a Brembo brake?
Right, yeah, so when you have something like a Brembo, you don't really try to change it up, right? So
yeah,
it's nice
we
to
don't
do
touch
something
it.
different.
Yeah, so we went with the full MotoMaster line.
We actually borrowed some hubs and rims off of Andy Jefferson at Husqvarna. He built a bike, and so we got the factory wheel set from the Power Parts catalog, which is really cool. And black on black, I mean, nothing sexier than black on a GasGas.
Yeah.
And we got
Andy definitely bailed us out on that one. That was the last piece we were waiting for, and huge kudos to Andy for that, because he pulled through for us for sure.
He is a crossbar fellow, so we went the Pro Taper Fusion bar, Works Connection bits and pieces. Also these covers, these carbon covers are really cool. Who's that by?
Yeah, so my buddy Justin at Moto Whips, he does a lot of, they do basically like a cribs for motorcycles, you know, like you want to get your bike looking sexy like this, hit them up. But yeah, they make these carbon covers. You'll see them on pretty much all the factory motorcycles. It's a protection piece for the master cylinder on the clutch and the brake side. So yeah, he was nice enough to give me a set of those to just continue the bling factor on this bike.
And CMT makes, so not the CMT carbon composites that's in Europe. The CMT, there's another CMT company that does the factory Honda race team as well as the Pro Circuit Kawasaki race team. He builds a lot of carbon products for those race teams, and he's based out of my area in the high des, and he makes quality carbon accessories. So we put his skid plate on here, which is unbelievable, really nice. And of course, gut seat, rib cover, and Decal Works did an excellent job with the whole scheme of the motorcycle. I tried to get Eddie to do the GasGas lettering in black, but he went with white. But now that I see the bike, it ties in really nice.
So a few more key features that I definitely want to hone in that we did. Jeremy at Twin Air always takes care of us on filters, but we put the Power Flow kit in there so we can get a little more air through there. I also vented this air box myself. That's just to get more air in it. And then of course, Ron and Henson. Can't forget about Ron and Henson. One of the best clutch makers I feel in the industry. They set us up with their whole pressure plate, the spring, the clutch pack, the inner hub. So that was another huge thing. And then, the final one is obviously our frictionless ZRT throttle tube. Those go on all my bikes because they're just butter.
Yeah, real quick about the ZRT. We don't really give it enough credit because obviously it's hidden because it's under the grip, but the feel that the ZRT brings to this bike, it's unbelievable. It's really smooth and buttery, and Tom, those guys over there at ZRT do a great job in the throttle tube, and I'm usually not an aluminum throttle tube kind of guy, but I am on this bike and I am with ZRT, so that's really cool. Of course, Dunlop tires. Can't forget about Dunlop. And yeah, it looks really good. We're excited to ride it. We're going to let him pop this thing's cherry and go take it on Glen Helen. So really cool. Okay, we're wrapping up here. 2023 GG MC 450, the red beauty. Eddie, I'll let you take the reins today because this is your build. I mean, I walked into Eddie's shop, seen how this thing was torn down to nothing. He has bugged me for a month and a half for parts. You've bugged me prior to that to get another bike to ride. I want to ride this. I want to ride that. He's a spoiled human being, this guy to the right of me. Spoiled. But now that this is what you said when you came off the track. I should have rode this at the Vet National. This is what I should have rode. But I've heard that before, people. I've heard it. So let's get some factual information. What's it like to ride with all the mods? Give us that right now, then we'll break it down.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. All right, that wraps it up.
First off, I'm grateful for you always filling my needs and my wants, because that I don't want you to think that goes unappreciative. But no, I was really excited about this, because most people know this is the older chassis, the older engine, so it's a little more forgiving. Glen Helen, hard pack, super choppy. This bike checked a bunch of boxes that I was really looking forward to seeing. So the forgiveness in the chassis up and down the hills, I felt like I had more grip. The bike felt more planted.
Okay, let's stop right there. So let's compare that to your FC 350 that we did KYB. We had a muffler, we had an ECU. Chassis compliance, better here?
So we've had, yes, 100% it's better. Okay. But we've had conversation about this after World Vets. I don't know if it was so much that the suspension was harsh.
Okay. And
that's where I was getting the rigidity, stiffness of the chassis, where this stuff is not. Like, I can jump this thing off of singles and flat land. It's good. I come down the hill on the gas. I hit those bumps, and it feels like you're hitting a cloud. Okay. Where the 23 FC 350, when I hit those things, it was like butt pucker. Oh shoot, here we go.
Right.
So this bike, it's hard. I don't want to knock the 23 chassis because that's where they're going, and they're there. So we got to figure out how to make that bike right. But for me today at Glen Helen, the track was pretty good today. Downhills were pretty gnarly soft, and this thing was like a dream. I didn't find myself tensing up and getting super tight when I hit the bumps. I could charge through a lot of that stuff, and the chassis, if it's a compliant or a comparison like chassis versus suspension, I think they just met together and they worked with each other.
Now, before Vet Nationals, we were worried about him being not in shape enough to hang on to a 450 for the duration of a 15-minute moto. Now that you have the 450, the PC muffler, we got the Vortex ECU mapped by Twisted, and the flange, power feel for you. And granted, you didn't do a full moto today, but you could feel it.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I just did, after we did all the photo stuff, I just did a 5-lap moto.
Okay, so?
So here on the 350, 5 laps with the way the track is about the same time. 4 and 5 would be physically demanding. Today, lap 5 was.
Okay.
And
so you can hang on longer.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the chassis, not beating me up. The power, yes, this bike has, with those added additions that we did to this bike, yes, the motor, it wakes the motor up. It has more hit. It's way more, like the connectivity is a lot better with the ECU and the pipe and all that stuff. It's got the power you need on a 450, but usable. Right? That we always talk about, the 450's got so much power, but you can't use it. Right? You're just spinning donuts. It's not usable power. This thing felt like a tractor today. Like it didn't rip out of your arms, but it was going forward at all times.
And we're on stock gearing?
Stock gearing, 1348.
3049.
49, sorry.
Yeah, 1349. So someone came up to you after this video and say, hey man, I want to buy a new bike. Should I buy a 23 GasGas or should I buy a 23 KTM 450? Or maybe a 23.5 Barsha edition? What would you go? California. We're here in California. Let's judge on what we ride.
Yeah. So the first thing I'm gonna look at is what kind of rider it is.
Yep.
Because that's if it's your style rider, I would send him the 23 route.
Okay.
Because I think 23 and a half. I think it's probably not as harsh at the speed you go at. So I would send him your route. If it's a vet guy at my pace, 40B class, has a 9 to 5 and only rides 1 day a week, I would send him this route for sure.
Here, if you guys are listening, you guys are trying to make a decision. Like for me, I would even take this frame here just for compliance. I feel like there's less vibration on the newer frame. There's a little bit more vibration on this frame, but there's more compliance. If I push it really hard, it does have some wallow, but for me, those areas are few and far between, and the areas that are jacked up on this track it's a lot, right? So this frame soaks up a lot of that. One thing you're not gonna get out of this frame, as you will the newer frame, is longevity. I've put a lot of time on this older style frame, and if you get up to near 80 hours, it feels really stretched and clapped out. The newer frame takes longer to break in, but also will last longer. So just where you want to be in the time of your life and what you're riding and how you ride, I think, is where this all fits in. So overall, you're happy with this?
Yeah, I'm happy with everything we did. We need to go, I think, one stiffer shock spring because we were having a hard time getting to the sag with not having tension on the spring at full low or at full. Yeah, so I think we'll go one stiffer on the shock spring, kind of hold the rear end up a little more. But everyone
brakes, the MotoMaster system.
I'm extremely happy with it. It doesn't have that extreme like firm feel that you would look out of a Brembo. Like you would pull it and you're going to be like, man, this thing's it's kind of spongy. But I'm telling you, you barely pull it and it's good. It has good stopping. It's not overpowering.
It's a little more linear.
Very linear, not overpowering whatsoever.
So the Brembo's pretty grabby. And this, I've ridden other master cylinders and calipers that, we've tried, and it just makes it linear. I put a Brembo system on my Yamaha just because it's an older Brembo system and it has a good linear feel versus that on-off grabby feel.
Yeah.
So
with the front caliper and then matched with their 270 mil front rotor, I have no complaints, front or rear. It's really good.
Last thing to wrap this thing up, anything different with the clutch feel, with the Hinson, or does it feel the same?
No, it actually did stall on me a couple times, so I don't know if that had something to do. We used their spring, which I'm going to assume that it's a little stiffer than the stock spring. So maybe a little something with that maybe the clutch a little too hard for my fingers to pull in, but I'll play with that a little more as I continue to ride this thing. But no, this bike's new. Like we said earlier, it's probably got 3 hours on it now, so it's got time to go, but
Well, looks like Eddie just bought his new motorcycle, so it looks like you're gonna ride red. You have any questions about this garage build, Kris at KeeferInkTesting.com or Eddie, EDDIE, at KeeferInkTesting.com. He'll answer anything you need here and kind of what he's done to his bike, and maybe you want to do that to yours. So we're gonna get a price for this thing for you.
Yes, we are.
And we're gonna get you back on the track. Maybe March we'll start racing again. And we'll see how this goes. Let's see in about a month or two if he still likes this thing and he wants to switch it up and want to get something else.
We got SR coming. We got new factory editions.
We got the GasGas. You might want to do that. Who knows? So you'll never know. So stay tuned to RacerXOnline.com for more information, more garage build. Don't forget, subscribe. 12 issues, $30. Gets a cool calendar. You subscribe?
Yes, I do.
Unlike my other friend Todd that doesn't subscribe, this guy does. So
I pay $30 a month for my Mac. Or no, actually I pay about $90.
you get the point. Subscribe. See you on the next garage build.